Hallo zusammen! In this vlog, I'd like to give you a few impressions of the beautiful and big Zoo, the zoo in Leipzig, Germany. Enjoy! Before I'm going to talk about the zoo itself and what I like about it, here's a little quiz for you. Do you know which zoo animal makes this sound? Even though it was my first time visiting der Zoo, the zoo in Leipzig, it was my third time in the equally beautiful East German city. Just a few years ago, I actually filmed a little sightseeing vlog which revolves around the inner city and the pedestrian zone with its manifold, very impressive architecture. So in case you're into, well, nice looking buildings and the like, check out that vlog in the end card, as well as my personal Instagram account with more snapshots of those things. But now to the Zoo Leipzig itself. You know, one of my dear friends has visited pretty much all zoos in Germany, and while she says, well, many German zoos have unique qualities to them, she also cites the one in Leipzig as one of the most beautiful and impressive ones. And, well, to make a long story short, while I can only compare a handful of German zoos to this one, now that I've also paid it a visit, well, I can definitely see why she is of that opinion. It's a pretty large-scale zoo area, and I didn't film every single corner and every animal, also because I wanted to enjoy the trip with my family, and also because you should have an incentive to check out the zoo in person, of course. Since Leipzig is a tourism magnet within and outside of Germany, all descriptions of the animals and the zoo itself are displayed in both German and English. So yes, don't you worry, it's definitely possible to learn something even if you don't understand German at all. I found the paths and ways to be pretty broad and wide. And even though quite a few other visitors were there with us, you always had quite a lot of personal space for yourselves. There are few single places, such as the upper floor of the massive aquarium building, which can only be accessed by stairs, but overall, most other points of interest are easily accessible, for instance with wheelchairs. Don't know about you guys, but you know, some people have a more, some a less developed sense of navigation. But either way, and that's the cool thing, you won't go missing in the zoo, don't you worry, because there's a plethora of signs basically on every corner, and even a Rundgang, der Rundgang, the route suggesting a way through the different areas of the zoo. With the exception of birds and just a handful of other animals, all Gehege, das Gehege, the enclosure, they are very open, so sight is not limited, quite the opposite actually. I was pleasantly surprised. Throughout the territory you can find quite a few restaurants, places to rest, quite a few shadow areas so to speak, and many toilets. Currently there's a big new zoo area called Feuerland, Fireland in development. For people interested in these things from a planning and constructional point of view, there's also a dedicated little building with more information on the process, the different construction stages and the like. Really cool. And I'm really looking forward to coming back to this new area as well. So, with the many highlights adding up to my really positive opinion on the zoo as a whole, arguably a must-see and standout highlight is the Gondwanaland building. Not only is it really massive, and I feel like the space within got used almost perfectly in terms of efficiency, natural diversity, attractions, paths, and the like. This hall is basically a contained rainforest with many big plants, animals that live in high humidity environments, and the like. Of course, you can choose just to walk through it, but I think you are missing out on two of the real highlights there. One of them is the boat trip, which is roughly 8 to 12 minutes long and only costs about €2 per person as of July of 2023. This boat ride focuses on Earth's history and also shows many more plants and animals on the way through the river.
Der Urzeitkontinent Gondwana entsteht. Gondwana wird zum grünen Kontinent, dessen Herrscher die Dinosaurier sind.
My second highlight is the use of verticality. You have 2 levels basically, and from up there you have a free view across the Gondwana area, and you can also see the big banana plants, for instance, up close. I could say many more things about the zoo, which would be equally positive, but then again, I don't want to spoil everything. We were there for about 4.5 hours, and depending on your personal circumstances, for instance being there with kids, you could very well spend even more time there. It's definitely wise to consider it a day trip. And what I can say in conclusion is, if you're interested in paying Leipzig a visit as a city, that alone is worth the time and the money. The pedestrian zone, the inner city of Leipzig itself, is so beautiful, especially when you appreciate architecture. And when you're there, definitely pay the zoo a visit as well. It is worth the money and the time, in my opinion. So, do you remember the quiz that I gave you at the beginning of the video? Which animal makes this noise? The answer is, it's the toilet door at the Kiwara Lodge, and yeah, I'm sorry. But there are many animals in the zoo which make similar noises though, so, don't be sad. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video about the Leipziger Zoo, the zoo in Leipzig. Definitely thanks for watching everyone, tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.